Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good afternoon. Hi,
Good
Ashley.
morning.
I'm just giving everyone a second to come in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from. Just give everyone a second to jump in and make sure Lizelle can join.
All right.
There she is. Good morning, Lizelle.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Awesome. Okay. No technical glitches. We are off to the races and
Woo-hoo.
winning. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're going to get started any moment. We'll just give everyone another couple seconds to join. And I'll make sure that I can see the timer here so we don't run over. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from around the world. Happy International Women's Day.
Woo!
Oh, there's Katie Van Geffen. Hello, Katie. Thanks for joining. Yana and Amy and team, hello. All right, well, we started a couple minutes late, so I want to jump in and not waste any time and want to start off by saying Happy International Women's Day to the beautiful woman joining me this morning and all of you around the world. Ladies, happy International Women's Day.
Day to you all too.
Fantastic. We're super excited to kick off our International Women's Day Breaking the Bias series, and I couldn't think of a better way to kick things off than with two women I really respect and love from a company I really respect and love on International Women's Day. So we're off to an amazing start. So I want to welcome Ashley Ford and Lizelle Festejo from Great Place to Work. Good morning, ladies. And I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Before I do, I should probably say hello to everyone. I'm Lauren Maisels, founder and president of Loma Marketing Agency, and it's an honor for me to do this with you today. It's our first Instagram Live at Loma, so we're glad you're all here to join us. But ladies, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Ashley, I don't know if you want to start first, introduce maybe Great Place to Work and yourself.
Yeah, I'm an Instagram live first timer as well. So yeah, lots of first times happening here. But yeah, I'm Ashley Ford and joined by my colleague Lizelle. We both work for Great Place to Work, as Lauren shared. Great Place to Work is the global authority on workplace culture, and for more than 30 years, we've helped companies to gather feedback from their employees and to earn designation as being Great Place to Work certified when 7 out of 10 of their employees are experiencing a consistently positive workplace. Our mission is to help every place become a great place to work for all. And we really believe that work has the power to transform society, where it's creating conditions where people have to come together and really solve problems, in unique ways that they wouldn't have to do, outside of the workplace. So we've seen ourselves the way that work has the opportunity to transform lives. So we're really super serious about our mission and the power that it has. People often ask, what are the boxes they need to check in order to be a great place to work? And so, I, based on my own experiences of, being a part of a diet pill culture, I sort of liken it to that, where it took, in my early 20s, I was, always kind of looking to drop a quick pound and, tried different quick schemes, only to find that in order to be healthy and to not feel sluggish, like I actually had to take care of myself and there was a little bit more to it. So we find that it's really similar for creating a great place to work. There's no set of programs and practices that are going to immediately make you a great place to work, but it's really about the relationships and that leaders are creating with their people and the relationships that people in the organization have to the work that they're doing. So that's all based on a foundation of trust, which is really I think, kind of at the core of belonging and what we're talking about today. So, and just kind of wrap it up real quickly. I've been with Great Place to Work for about 6 years, and I lead our certification product and both how we're acquiring companies to be interested in certification, and then how we're supporting them through that process as they become certified.
Amazing. Thank you. And such an incredible organization. I've been fortunate to see the work Great Place to Work does firsthand and how it affects companies and cultures and humans. And so just it's all the mission is everyone should be passionate about creating a great place to work for all. So thank you for sharing that with us and introducing yourself. And next, Lizelle, please introduce yourself to our audience. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Lizelle Festejo, and I'm at Great Place to Work. I help to lead our events team, which helps to kind of, bring that mission to life, through our experiences, connecting. And so really super excited to hopefully, have actually an in-person event this year in October and, do all the things that, Ashley had shared about our mission and what we do. And, our event really brings that community together. So I've been with the organization for about 11 and a half years. And, every day for me is just, being able to work with such passionate and mission-driven folks that are trying to, help us to envision a world where it's different, that there is equity at the forefront in workplaces, which, I love International Women's Day because for me, it's just like a reminder of the fact that, there's still a lot of work to be done. And, especially around women, equity, but also equity for all. There's so many intersections around, creating a great experience in the workplace that really resonates, into the community and into the world. And so, really thrilled to be here, kind of sharing our experiences, with you all.
Thank you. And you're right. The theme of this year's International Women's Day is Break the Bias, which, for those of you who haven't had a chance to kind of take a look at the theme, it's about imagining a gender equal world. And I know Great Place to Work is doing a lot of work around, equitable pay and so many other great, and I encourage everybody to go check out all your amazing resources. But it's about the theme this year, and it sort of feels like a theme that should be all year round, every year, ongoing forever, is a world free of bias, free of stereotypes and discrimination, a world that is diverse and equitable and inclusive, where we can all value and celebrate our differences, which I know we'll talk a little bit about today. And especially as we're International Women's Day, forging women's equality to break the bias. And so we framed the conversation as a 4-part series kicking off today. And we framed our Breaking the Bias series around belonging, inclusion, achievement, and support of others. And so today we're kicking off our conversation, or framing our conversation around belonging. So we're going to dive right in, and I'm going to turn it to you, Lizelle, and I would love to know what belonging means to you.
Yeah, it's a really great question, Lauren. And as Ashley and I were kind of like sharing our experiences of how we would share our stories today, we realized that there really are 2 levels of belonging. Especially around the workplace. One is the individual level where you as a person feel that you're safe to do the work that you need to do, to help fulfill the organizational goals. And then the second level is where, as leaders, and this is where we both found, the commonalities, how do we really create the conditions for our people to feel that sense of belonging, and really inspire, our entire team at that organizational level, to be able to feel safe, to be able to feel that they can collaborate, and to feel that they are involved in, all of the decisions that are made, regarding their experience at work. And so, as Ashley and I were talking about our experiences, we realized, um, especially in this last year, 2 years, we had a shared experience in terms of leading our teams where we had historically been misaligned, or just not really connecting at the level that we need to in order to have our teams do their personal best. And through sort of our experiences kind of like working together and trying to like take that step back and try to understand the experiences of each other, and we realize that we actually are, we have the same goals. It's just, the approaches that we take are different, or we bring different skill sets and perspectives, to different, problems that are posed in terms of or achieving our goals. So, so those are the two levels that we kind of, talked through and want to share today. And, for me, just starting from the individual level, like for me, belonging means being able to bring your full self to work. So, when I was thinking about this, I was remembering the last time that I, really gave my all was actually 2 years ago. I was leading a team of really fierce women around our summit, and Lauren, you're a part of our team, and I actually was 4 months pregnant. So I literally brought my full self to work, and it was a trip because here I was, and at this time, my partner and I said, we're not going to want to know what the gender of the baby is, because of the fact that we didn't want to like put any certain preconceptions on like how to like what the baby's future would be, and gender kind of like you get ingrained from the moment that from that moment of like, okay, is it going to be a boy or a girl? And so we kind of wanted to free ourselves up there. So it was amazing because I remember one distinct moment at the summit where I collided with our co-founder Robert Levering in the hall, and that was the first question he asked me, and he said, so is it a boy or a girl? And I'm like, I don't know. It's going to be a baby. And he was like, why didn't you want to know? And then so I kind of explained it to him, and he said, I never thought about it in that way, and so for me that was just like a really pivotal moment, thinking about all the time now reflecting, that's what, like, I feel like International Women's Day is really all about. Like, how do we really kind of break those barriers for how people show up in the world, period. And it really does start from that moment, I think. So flash forward kind of like after the summit, my changing identity as someone at Great Place to Work was shifting, and I was going out on parental leave, and leaving a team behind. This was after the onset of the pandemic and a lot of uncertainty and transition. And so, for me, I felt, like leaving a team when there's all this unknowns and uncertainty. But at the same time, I had to really push and focus on like this next phase of my life. And so I had to really put trust in the organization and in my fierce team, the individuals, to also figure it out. And so yeah, for me, belonging means being able to kind of like, bring that full self, like all the different perspective, the different facets of your life, into your workplace, and knowing that your workplace kind of embraces that as well. So
beautiful. And supports you, right? I mean, your first baby, there's so many unknowns there.
Yeah.
And fun fact for everyone watching, Yana and our team and Lizelle had their babies the same day, almost at exactly the same time. So they are they are forever linked, Ben and Lenny,
Soul siblings.
soul siblings, which was so cool and special. But yeah, you're sort of going on this uncharted path, you know, of motherhood. So I can imagine that, you know, wanting to feel supported is extremely important.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know it's definitely time has flown, and I feel like with the pandemic, it's what is time. So, and I can't believe Lenny's going to be almost 2, Lenny and Benny. But
Oh,
Ashley,
cute.
Lenny and Benny, I know. So, you know, pivoting a little, Ashley, I know there were some things you wanted to share around also building a sense of belonging sort of at the organizational level as a leader. Can you share with us what you've learned?
Yeah. So interestingly, you know, Lizelle and I had kind of like a baton passing moment, because when she was going out on leave, I was just coming back from leave. So 2 years ago, you know, almost to the day, as the pandemic was hitting, you know, Lizelle's kind of getting ready to go out. I was coming back from 3 months of leave, also having my first child, and so yeah, I think, you know, that you know, there was so much involved in that transition. Obviously, you know, unprecedented times that we were going through. You know, this being a new mother myself, also, you know, having a son that was born with a disability. He had club foot. You know, so I was working through treatment and doing all that stuff. And so, really, you know, I was in this moment where I was like incredibly vulnerable, you know, kind of in this new position where a lot of the things that had made me successful, you know, before were no longer the things, you know, that I could lean on in.
Oh, we lost Ashley for a second.
In
Give her a second. Oh,
world that
oh, you're back.
There you
oh. So I think, am I back? Okay, sorry. Okay. I think, you know, the quality had relied on to get me, you know, to the, you know, position that I was in were no longer the things that I could rely on, you know, in this new place going forward. So, you know, I think just that alone, you know, and being able to kind of be incredibly vulnerable and at the same time like supported, you know, by a group of folks around me, both in my leaders, you know, and in the team that I was managing, to give me the grace to work through, you know, all of that was phenomenal. And I think it was like the ultimate trust building exercise for me to say, like, I'm still needed, even if I can't, you know, work 15-hour days the way I could before, or, you know, you know, some of the same things that I just didn't have, that I wasn't able to do. It didn't make or break my success at Great Place to Work. So like on an individual level, you know, that was just incredibly trust building, you know, for me to say, like, now I know I can make mistakes. I really can disagree or push back, and it's not going to have, you know, repercussions. So I was incredibly fortunate, you know, in that regard. And then, you know, also kind of being a person who then had to create those same conditions for the team that I was managing, you know. So as Lizelle mentioned, you know, she was going out, and in the midst of all of that, you know, the work that her team was doing before, you know, we knew that it was going to be something we had to put on pause for a while. There were going to be no in-person events. And so really looking to see how we could fold them into more of our like overall demand gen and digital strategy, you know, where we were bringing together teams that kind of historically had different goals and sometimes different initiatives and different resources, was, probably the most vulnerable, I've ever had to be kind of as a leader, um, doing, having, tough conversations, with folks who said, we don't feel like we're considered a part of this team, or we're concerned, that Lizelle is not being thought about in this new reality, and really having to like trust each other and be comfortable enough, to have these super tough conversations, about the future of our teams together. And so, it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of, just in terms of uh, uh, my leadership experience at Great Place to Work, is that, we went from kind of feeling like there was, we were at odds all the time, to really actually feeling like a connected unit, and a lot through just like constant conversation, and creating those conditions where like we could disagree with each other and there weren't repercussions, or speak up when things weren't, when folks were feeling kind of undervalued and underappreciated. So that was, I think, kind of like flipping the script, like how can I pay it forward? I've been given such great grace and leadership, from people that supported me in making this transition. So how can I do the same, and I think it's paid off hugely for, just for like how we're growing our brand overall. You can just feel this difference in the way that we're able to operate now, where, I think historically, well, and a lot of us are taught, just kind of leadership is about I win, you lose, or, this very dominating way of, that it's like, it's my way or the highway, and that really, it isn't the case. It is a yes, and like we can create opportunities where both of our goals can be achieved, and there's likely a lot of compromise in that too, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. And through creating those conditions where we can try things from a different perspective, like often you do find like it creates a bigger pie, it creates more resources and more opportunity for all of us to win together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we're seeing that as women. I think, a lot of us grew up conditioned to see one another as competition so often, right? That if I win, you lose, and if you win, I lose. And I think we're seeing a huge shift, that it's not about winning or losing. It's about we can all win, we can all celebrate our accomplishments, even our challenges together, right? Learn from one another. I think that's what makes this day so special, this week so special, is our diversities, our differences, is what makes us all unique. And we all bring different pieces to the table. And so I think that's probably is what's so valued by your teams and Great Place to Work, which I know, values that so much. And if, from what you're both saying, at the core foundation of it all is trust, right? That trust is there as the foundation to allow you to go away and be a mother and come back knowing you can still be a leader and not having to pick. That's another thing I think we're all, I'm not a mother, but I know that is, it's something that women have continued to struggle with. Can I be a mother and a leader? Can I do both? Can I have it all, right? Of course you can. But I think at the core of that is an organization or a team that supports you to be able to do that, which I know Great Place to Work, walks the walk, talks the talk. And, as I know Michael, your CEO, says, it's good for business at the end of the day. Keeping great people is good for business. So I think everything you shared just, exhibits that to its core. I know we're already at 25 minutes, which I knew this conversation would be
I
so great. And we're going to keep these to 20 minutes. And I was like, I know we're not going to be able to. And I still know we have some great stuff to get to. And if anybody who's joined us has questions, feel free to pop those in for Lizelle or Ashley. We'll definitely try and get to that. But I may skip ahead here and just kind of talk a little bit about your DEIB, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging framework, because that's so powerful and so important, which focuses on, head, heart, and hands. And I think our viewers and audience would get a lot out of that. So would you mind sharing a little about that with us?
Yeah, I can definitely share. And, just kind of going back to our conversation, the work that we do at Great Place to Work isn't perfect, and it comes from a lot of care, that, but care also, at the end of the day, doesn't get everything perfect too, but it's what helps to drive things forward. And I think, that's one of the biggest takeaways that I think, we all should kind of look at, our approaches to really changing the world, is that acknowledging that we're not perfect, but as long as we keep trying, that's where, the real headway, comes from. And so, with this framework that I wanted to share, it's around looking at, our approach to change through your head, heart, and hands. And so, through the head, it's really about deepening the understanding of individuals' experiences through education. So really creating a common language for teams, for organizations, for groups of people to kind of like come together and understand and acknowledge, what needs to change in order to make a more equitable world. And so, this week, one of our people posse leaders is going to be sharing about, her experiences being mentors for women and girls in STEM education, and that like anyone can actually be that, regardless of whether or not, science was your background, in school. So really excited about that. Around the heart, it's about creating the conditions for empathy through storytelling and sharing experiences. So, Ashley was, one of the things that I really value about you is you being able to be open and vulnerable, in those moments, leading our teams and sharing your experiences, sharing the things that you've learned, and sharing, that we're not perfect, but, at the same time, we're constantly trying to grow and evolve, and then the last part is hands. So really guiding your organization to address all the isms in your community, whether it be sexism, racism, ableism. So, at Great Place to Work internally, we take the TI survey, the Trust Index survey twice a year, and kind of really take a look at where are the opportunities for us to address gaps across, the board, and how do we leverage our strengths as an organization in order to address those gaps. And one of the things that I really appreciate, our CEO, Michael Bush, yesterday, he said, International Women's Day, it shouldn't be a day, it shouldn't be a month. It should be a year round, women are 50% more or less, depending, because gender again is very much a social construct. But one of the things that like also inspires me is that we're integrated with UKG, and they have a campaign right now around closing the gap. So it's a pay equity initiative to drive awareness and education to solve for pay disparity between the genders and underrepresented groups, in the genders. And so really excited about, being a part of an organization that truly values, that our UKG mission is, our purpose is people. And so it's such an inspiring thing to be a part of, not only Great Place to Work, but another organization that's even furthering, the mission that we have at Great Place to Work as well.
Beautiful. I love it. It's such an important framework. And for anyone watching, like, where do where can you point them to find more information? Do they just go to greatplacetowork.com to get access? I know you have so many resources, so is there something in particular you would suggest?
Yeah, greatplacetowork.com is a great resource. There's a lot of content that really, if you're struggling as a leader, to help really create a sense of belonging in your organization, we have resources there that really can share some things practical things that you can do, right away. And then ukg.com, you can also check out ukg.com/pay-equity to learn more about the campaign and what we're trying to do to close the gap.
Amazing. I
I'll
love
just
it. Yeah.
you can find Great Place to Work on Instagram, GPTW or US. Lots of great content on there, including the Head, Heart, Hands framework that Lizelle talked about.
Amazing. And I think they're representing here on the live. I think I saw some love. Great Place to Work team, show some love. It's amazing. Well, I can't believe how fast the time's gone. So before we wrap up, I would love to kind of give you both an opportunity to share any final thoughts about sort of International Women's Day, breaking the bias, belonging. Any final thoughts for our audience?
One thing, just kind of like looking back on my experience and kind of what I had to unlearn and relearn, as part of my leadership style is that embrace the feminine, kind of natural leadership style that comes, from some of, you women who are also kind of looking to be in leadership roles. I think, there are times where I felt like I had to kind of be more dominant or to not show emotion, and I kind of found myself really struggling through that because I wasn't being true to myself, and it's not to say I don't, still work on, the peaks and valleys, want to make sure that not everybody has to see when I'm having a terrible day. But at the same time, as Lizelle mentioned, the more that I've come into my vulnerability and just kind of being open about the struggles that I have too, the more that I actually have named those fears, myself and said, wait a minute, this is actually something that's just going on in my head. And, and at the same time, giving space for other people to like also see, that I'm feeling the same things they're feeling too, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite quotes is striving for progress over perfection, right? And I think so often as women, we feel unless we can do it perfectly, we're not going to do it, right? Yeah. So bringing that vulnerability into the conversation and being able to say, I'm not perfect. I'm nowhere near perfect, but I'm going to try. And I might stumble and I might fall, and and being able to do that is courageous. So I love that perspective. Thank you. And Lizelle, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think just piggybacking off of that as well is just like questioning, where is that coming from? Is that coming from where I truly want to be, or is that something that has been ingrained in me, growing up, through your parents, through your family, through school, and just really challenging those notions. And really understanding when you're able to really truly express yourself in all the beautiful ways that you can be and show up in the world, that's liberating. And that is when you do your best work. You are your best, partner. You are your best family member or friend. And so, when you hear that voice, because it's always going to come up, take a moment and just say, where is that coming from? Is that really coming from who I am? Or is that coming from, the things that surround me? And when you're able to kind of like take a pause and reflect, listen to your inner voice that's deep down inside that needs to be, getting the sun and the rain and, all the nourishment.
Let it out.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Beautifully
Let it out.
said. Well, I could talk to you both the whole day. So we might have to maybe do a part 2 at some point.
We love
But
that.
sort of using your head, heart, hands framework, if I may, I just wanted to say thank you both for your beautiful minds and your perspective and bringing your full self to the conversation today. From my heart, from your hearts, I really appreciate it. And, from my hands, thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Lauren.
It was a pleasure. And for everyone, thank you so much for joining. We'll definitely post this on the account to our, I think we're saying keeping it real on our reels. And so if you missed the first part of the conversation, catch it on demand on our Instagram account. And thank you both, ladies. I can't wait to see you in person and hug you in person. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your International Women's Day celebration.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.